Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. It is Tuesday, June the 19th, 2018, and SmackDown Live came to us from Toledo, Ohio, and it was the complete opposite of last night's Monday Night Raw, and we are here to talk about it right here and right now on the newest, fastest rising podcast in all of YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, Radio, and Podbean, baby. Oh yeah, it's time for the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Let's do it. Oh yeah.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
Alright, wrestling fans, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Nick Nightmare. Along with me, as always, is the world's greatest tag team, Thor the Sledgehammer, the wrestling god of thunder, and the official sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. My little buddy and most trusted companion, the most loyal friend a man could ever have, and the world heavyweight champion of all the microphones in the whole entire world, Blue the Snowball. Thank you guys for checking out the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's official SmackDown Live review for tonight. And SmackDown Live was great. SmackDown Live was a great show. I am not used to saying those words when it comes to a WWE main roster show. That does not mean it was not without its issues. I do take issue with a couple of things, but they are very minor. As for the most part, tonight's show was a great show. I can't even believe it. 2 hours, most of which was filled with very good wrestling action. The other half filled with some decent stuff. But that doesn't mean we ain't bringing the hammer down on a couple of segments, which is what we do here. I bring it, and I bring it hard. And this is why you guys come here, because I tell you the truth. And I tell you what I see behind the curtain, behind the veil that the WWE tries to throw in front of us tonight. And yes, that gauntlet match was fucking amazing. It was absolutely great. Even with Daniel Bryan not being the winner, it's not about the fact that Daniel Bryan lost. I am upset at the way in which he was lost. If you watched the main event tonight, you've seen Daniel Bryan and what a fantastic performance he put on against two of the WWE's biggest behemoths and most badass human beings walking on the planet, Big E and Samoa Joe. Taking on any one of them on their own in a month within each other would be too much for me. Going up against them with the prospect of still having to face Rusev and The Miz, doing a fantastic job. That never say die, yes movement attitude was absolutely alive and well in Ohio tonight. Throughout the entirety of that match, the crowd was fully invested and everybody was 110% behind Daniel Bryan. But why, in God's name, did the Bludgeoned brothers come out and attack Daniel Bryan? Why? Were they upset at Daniel Bryan because he came out during their exiting of the ring and they cut the Bludgeoned brothers music and started to play Daniel Bryan's music? Is that why they power slammed him? Did they choke slam him and get him effectively eliminated from there because his beard looked better than theirs does? Maybe they're jealous of the way he grooms his facial hair, being that he looks all still nice and neat but still has that lumberjack wild man look, and these two guys look like a couple of homeless guys right in the middle of Manhattan. Why? What is the reasoning behind that? Are you going to move Daniel Bryan to the tag team division? Why would you do that? Who are you going to make his partner? What, are you going to give him a Ty Dillinger or somebody like that? I'm not interested in that. The money in Daniel Bryan is on the way back to the WWE Championship with The Miz as an obstacle in some way, which we did get seeds planted for that rivalry to continue down the line, and it's not going to be just relegated back to what happened on Talking Smack 2 years ago. We are starting to revisit that. We are going to have The Miz start to get under the skin of Daniel Bryan. That began tonight. That was great. But what was the point of the Bludgeon Brothers' involvement? Did they just suddenly remember that Daniel Bryan was the guy that started the dissolution of the Wyatt family, and ever since they ran that segment, the Wyatt family has really never been the same? Are they taking it out on him now? What is the reason? It doesn't make sense. And then you do something like that, and it took all of the wind and all of the momentum right out of that whole entire match. The crowd kind of died when The Miz eliminated Daniel Bryan following this attack by the Bludgeon Brothers in the main event tonight. Even though you have everybody's favorite holiday in the ring, you got Rusev Day in there, which is a great number 2 to Daniel Bryan, but everybody was so pulling for him that once you took him out of the equation, everybody seemed kind of spent. And that Rusev Day reaction could have been much stronger and should have been much stronger had they gone about it a different way. I happen to think, while I was watching this match, that Rusev was going to be the third competitor, and that Daniel Bryan was going to best Rusev, and then would end up falling to The Miz legitimately because he would have just been put through 3 of the most toughest matches he will ever have had versus 3 of the biggest, strongest, baddest men walking in the WWE locker room today. And The Miz would have taken advantage of that fact and eliminated Daniel Bryan from the gauntlet. That's what I thought was going to happen. Instead, we got a little bit of a reverse, and The Miz eliminates Daniel Bryan only to find himself eliminated in the end by Rusev. Rusev, for the first time in his career, is going to be getting a shot at the WWE Heavyweight Championship. So in the end, when it's all said and done, how can you really complain about how it went down? Is it time for Daniel Bryan to be going one-on-one with an AJ Styles for the WWE Championship? Probably not. Would you want a match like that at Extreme Rules and not at a SummerSlam or a Survivor Series or Royal Rumble or WrestleMania even? Of course you wouldn't, because you're not stupid. So I understand why they did what they did as far as the winners and losers go. I have no idea why they would involve the SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions. If you really have nothing for them to do in the tag team division, then just take the division away. Just meld the 2 belts together, unify the titles, and have a rotating tag team division on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, the same teams in the division, and that's it. And then maybe you'll actually have enough teams in the division to actually formulate some sort of a storyline so you don't have to take your tag team champions and put them in a useless storyline. You're taking these 2 guys and putting them in the shoes of a Big Cass, who is no longer part of the WWE. We dropped that story earlier today. If you missed that, it's live on the channel. Don't forget to check it out after the rest of this review. But that's what it seems like to me. They don't know where they're going. They don't know what to do with Daniel Bryan. And case in point is the one minor infraction that they tried to pull on us during that very, very good gauntlet match. Big E is a fucking talent, man. Big E deserves a big level push. He proved a lot to me tonight. He's not just all about pancakes and unicorns and rainbow shit. You know, all that fucking New Day crap. The man can wrestle. The man is a powerhouse. And he is absolutely fantastic. And I can't wait to see more of Big E in a singles capacity. When Big E's all business, he's a serious threat. He almost took out Daniel Bryan tonight, as did Samoa Joe. Everybody knows what Samoa Joe brings to the table. I actually thought on many occasions that Samoa Joe was going to be the guy to eliminate Daniel Bryan, which would set them up for a feud down the line. Daniel Bryan could keep that, you know, and use that as motivation to get back at Joe somewhere down the line, but that was not the case, as Daniel Bryan was smarter than the Samoan submission machine. And as Samoa Joe had Daniel Bryan wrapped up in a coquina clutch on the outside, Daniel Bryan very strategically waited until around the count of 7 or 8 to escape the Coquina Clutch, like Bret Hart escaped the Roddy Piper sleeper hold with that running, up the wall, flip over thing. Got out of the Coquina Clutch and back into the ring before the referee's 10 count. Samoa Joe was not able to do so and found himself counted out on the outside. So Samoa Joe was eliminated from this gauntlet match without an actual clean pin. He didn't really lose to anybody. He was really pissed off. And then Daniel Bryan would suffer the wrath of the Bludgeon Brothers. The Miz would come out, make short work of Daniel Bryan, and then we would have a somewhat decent pairing between The Miz and Rusev. Nothing really bad to say about the match. I was just very confused as to what just the fuck happened. So it kind of took me out of the moment, but I was very happy to see Rusev Day getting the win tonight, going on to a heavyweight championship match. You cannot complain about that. I can complain about the Women's Championship and Carmella and James motherfucking Ellsworth. I don't want to see this. I was so hopeful that this was going to be over this past Sunday, and that Asuka was going to take the title and move on to bigger, better things, like a Becky Lynch. Not Becker things, better things. That was Becky and Better together. Becker. Yeah, fuck it. We could use it. Why not? But that was not the case. Carmella comes out. She's talking shit. She starts to be all melodramatic, talking about how now she's a champion and she never believed in herself when she was a little girl and then blah, blah, blah. Gives a shit. Then Asuka's music hits and that thing that showed up at Money in the Bank came walking out. If you didn't know that that wasn't Asuka underneath that suit, you are a fucking moron. Corey Graves. You want to act all surprised when the reveal was made and it was James Ellsworth. Nice job. Nice job selling your gimmick. Because it's fucking awful. They're making you look like an idiot. A blind, retarded monkey could have told you that was James Ellsworth underneath that facade. And nobody wanted to see it. But we did. And they even let him talk again. Apparently he's really back. Like back. I thought he was coming to do a one-nighter. Help out his ex-girl, and then go back to fucking NWA or New Japan or wherever the hell he was letting his fucking worm dig his holes. But that's not the case. He's back to make Mella even more trash than she already is. However, this segment ended up not being that bad. It didn't go on for too long, and then Asuka would come out, punch that chinless bastard in his gut, but would suffer the fate of a super kick to the face by Carmella as she was walking out with her stupid little mascot, laughing and giggling at Asuka, leaving her laying in the ring. I can complain about this all night long, but the fact that this is still going only means that eventually Asuka's going to get this belt, so I'm just going to ignore this championship reign, and we are going to go on as if this isn't even happening. And we are not going to recognize the Women's Championship until it is around the waist of an Asuka or a Becky Lynch or a Charlotte Flair or a Naomi or somebody that matters. Somebody that can wrestle, somebody that I give a shit about. We had another dreadful Iconics promo. I wish these girls would have just came out to the ring and had the match with Becky Lynch. Why they had to give them the microphone and give them about 5 minutes to very awkwardly do these stupid, childish, ridiculous promos trying to impersonate Becky Lynch in a terrible way. Obviously not funny to anybody but themselves, taking shots at the hometown crowd that are going absolutely nowhere. The crowd could give two shits that these two girls from Australia were in there. They should give Elias a call and ask him for some notes on how to generate crowd response and crowd heat. Step number 1, don't be fucking annoying. The Iconics are annoying. Every word out of their mouth, every minute they speak, I don't want to hear it. But the match tonight that Billie Kay had against Becky Lynch was not bad. We had Billie Kay versus Becky, and it was okay. It was a little better than okay. Becky Lynch is fantastic. It was a nice win here for Becky Lynch as she would wrap up Billie Kay in the disarmor. She seems to be regaining some sort of momentum. It's a nice little roll she's on, but I hope it leads to something. Because if WWE has shown us anything, they are inconsistent at best. So Becky Lynch could be winning shit all week long, all month long rather, leading into Extreme Rules, and then not even get a championship match because they don't fucking know what they're doing. They don't have a plan. They're booking shows from minute to minute. But it was nice to see that Billie Kay actually can hold her own in the ring with somebody like a Becky Lynch. You want to be the guy to give all the credit to Becky Lynch for being very good enough to bring Billie Kay to a good match? Go ahead. I would agree with that. I can't disagree with that at all. But it was good to see. I thought for sure Becky Lynch was going to lose this match the minute Tom Phillips wanted to say how she was not 100% still from Money in the Bank. I thought they were going to use that as some bullshit. Thankfully, they did not. Nice win for Becky here. Then things would really start to pick up. The first 20 minutes of the show were kind of rough around the edges. They weren't too bad that it didn't make me want to kill myself like Monday Night Raw does. But then it definitely picked up. We had a promo from Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy's turned away from the camera. He's not facing the camera, and he wants to talk about Shinsuke Nakamura. He says AJ Styles beat Shinsuke at Money in the Bank. He's been able to move on. However, he himself has not been able to move on ever since Shinsuke hit him with the Kinshasa during their United States Championship match a couple of weeks back. And apparently, Shinsuke Nakamura inadvertently woken something within Jeff Hardy, something very Brother Nero-esque. He was talking very unusually, saying very weird things. When they turned to face the camera to reveal his Brother Nero-style made-up face, opened up his eyes to reveal those white pupilled, milked-out eyes. Those crazy psycho eyes that he has when he's Brother Nero. He wants to set his sights on Shinsuke Nakamura, and he tells Nakamura that he sees him. Shinsuke, I see you. So obviously Jeff Hardy looking for a measure of revenge against Shinsuke Nakamura. That's a great place for him to go after what he's just been put through with AJ Styles. Jeff Hardy is a great challenger for him to take on next. I do not agree with the fact that they are going to take somebody that lost repeatedly on their way to their WWE Championship reign, not able to secure it at all, and then gets rewarded with a United States Championship run. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But I liked their match on SmackDown Live. Going into Money in the Bank, I think if they actually want to get creative and they're going to let Jeff Hardy get a little weird, and Shinsuke Nakamura is already a little weird, I'm all in on that. I'm fine. We had the debut of Sanity, which was fucking great. And it was great for a number of reasons, and we'll get into that. What I didn't like is the fact that the commentary team had to not just hype the fact that Sanity is coming out, but they almost seem to be apologizing for the characters. Did you get that? It's almost like, well, we know these guys are weird, and the casual fan might not understand what they're watching, so we have to literally define each character specifically and give them your parameters for each one so that they understand what they're about to see. That really pissed me off that they did that. But the segment that would come to follow was not that bad. You had the Usos come out, cut some really fantastic Uso-style promos saying, we got a new tag team coming around. They want to make a name off the Usos. Sanity would then hit the ring for their matchup, their supposed debut matchup with the Usos, but it would never take place as they would just absolutely lay the Usos to waste, and it was a great segment. Sanity comes in, showing the world that they are not to be taken lightly. They took out probably the greatest tag team the WWE has had over the last decade, with relative ease, I might add, and they did not give a shit whether or not they were actually winning or losing. As long as they were causing chaos, they are pulling off being a Riot Squad way better than the Riot Squad actually are on Monday Night Raw. And Sanity is here. They have made their presence felt, and the Usos suffered. This was a mugging more than anything else. What I like about it, you might say, well, you know, Nick, you're always so high on the Usos. How could you like the fact that they lost here? Well, like I said, first of all, it puts Sanity right where they need to be. Right near the top of the pile. You go out, you take the biggest dog in the yard out of the fight, and now you are subsequently big news. And that's what Sanity tried to do here. The other reason why I like it so much is it presents an opportunity later down the line where the Usos and their connection to Naomi could present a window for the introduction to the main roster to Nikki Cross. We could be having a tag team matchup. You have Naomi on the outside trying to even the playing field because Sanity is a three-person faction with just the men for now. And then out of nowhere, maybe similar to what China did back in the day to Marlena, you have some crazy broad jump the barricade, start attacking Naomi, whipping her around, bear hugging her, just going all out wild on her. Revealed to be Nikki Cross, a member of Sanity. I think that is a great avenue to go down. Now that they have set these pieces in motion, that's where I think we are going to go. Sanity versus the Usos are going to light up SmackDown Live. They're going to be the only tag team match that you need to watch. That doesn't, I guess, involve Daniel Bryan? What? I don't know. We'll see what happens when we get there. Nice debut for Sanity here. That was just fine with me. WWE 2K19 announces AJ Styles as the cover athlete. Good for him. This led into a promotional package highlighting the AJ Styles-Shinsuke Nakamura rivalry and their matchup at Money in the Bank, which would then lead us backstage to Shinsuke Nakamura, who's standing there with Renee Young, who's trying to get answers and how he feels about everything after Money in the Bank. He says he never lost Money in the Bank. Says the referee counted too quickly, and the referee did not count in Japanese, so it was not fair, which I thought was funny as hell. It was pretty good. He then turned his attention to Jeff Hardy as Renee Young asked him if he heard Jeff Hardy's comments earlier in the night and what he has to say about that, and he said, Jeff Hardy says his eyes are open, but I am going to close them if he decides to get in my way. They're setting up Shinsuke and Jeff Hardy very nicely. A couple of very good old school promos from both of these guys. Shinsuke was very clearly enunciating. He was very easy to understand. And I love Shinsuke as a heel. He's coming off as such an arrogant prick. You know, Renee Young at one point when she changed the question to Jeff Hardy, she said, you know, what are your thoughts about Jeff Hardy? And he goes, who? And she says, Jeff Hardy, much louder. And he says, there's no need to yell. Take it easy. Like he's just got such a swagger to him, and it absolutely works. And I really am intrigued at the charismatic Enigma going up against the King of Strong Style coming up in the very, very near future. We had the rematch for the Tag Team Championships. I didn't really care about it. I didn't really care too much for it. We had the Club going up against the Bludgeons once again. The Club lose once again. Cleaning that up nice and neatly so that the Bludgeon Brothers apparently could turn their attention and focus on Daniel Bryan. I don't know where they're going with that. I don't know what the hell is going to happen. But the show tonight's ending with the confrontation between Rusev and the phenomenal AJ Styles. Shaking hands in the ring like buds. And then Aiden English wants to come in there and get his hands shook. AJ goes to extend back, and he gives him one of these. AJ gets a little pissed off, shoves him to the floor. And that, my friends, was SmackDown Live. There was really nothing very big to complain about. I threw my complaints out there because that's what we do. We bring the hammer down. That is what I saw wrong with this show. But there was way more right than wrong on tonight's episode of SmackDown Live. They got some nice feuds cooking up. They got some stories that they're starting to tell. If they can maintain the course and get us to Extreme Rules and keep my interest peaked, then I guess it will be a success. As truly we are on our way to this year's SummerSlam in Brooklyn, once again for the 4th year in a row. Nice little way to segue to the last story that we just broke right before we sat down to watch SmackDown Live. We dropped a video on this channel that you may have missed, talking about how Vince McMahon has cock-blocked Ring of Honor from getting in on MSG. Nice little story on that. If you want to take a look and listen to that, it is here on this channel for you to enjoy. That is your SmackDown Live review, you guys. That's it. Seems like not very much, because most of the show was soaked up by that tremendously good Gauntlet match. We had the debut of Sanity. Absolutely zero mention of Big Cass at all. That's because he's now on the sidelines, like we told you guys. Don't forget to check out that video as well. And that's all I have. My notes are only 1 page long, and that's it. And being that we've been in front of this camera all day today, we are going to wrap it up on that. SmackDown Live was alright with me. Hopefully, we can keep on this train and let it keep going in this direction. SmackDown Live has notoriously done this to us and then dipped down to depths that are Raw-like. And we don't want to see that happen. The exact opposite of Monday Night Raw last night. Raw started off very well with a good first hour and then went to complete shit. SmackDown got on your nerves for about 10 minutes tonight and then was a very good wrestling show. For once, thank God. I mean, let's not get crazy, it was no NXT. But that'll do, pigs. That'll do. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the Wrestling God of Thunder, Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, my little buddy and trusted companion, and the World Heavyweight Champion of microphones, Blue the Snowball. This has been the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's SmackDown Live review right here on Sledgehammer TV. If you are listening to us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or Podbean, baby, don't forget to like us over there. Follow us. Give us a 5-star rating. Follow me at Twitter, on Twitter, at Nick Nightmare. There is it, nice and spelled out for you down there. Facebook.com/The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. All one word. But most importantly, if you're listening, get your earballs out of your pods and get your eyeballs onto your screens and get to YouTube.com right now. YouTube.com/SledgehammerTV to enjoy visually all the fun and excitement and everything we do here at the show for you guys. My Sledgehammer Club. If you are not already a member of the Sledgehammer Club, all you need to do is hit that subscribe button right now. Become one of the hundreds of fans that every single day know and push that button because they know this is the place to be when you want your pro wrestling done right. Reviews, previews, top 5 lists, all the things you need for all your wrestling needs. Do not forget to like this video, share this video with each and every one of your wrestling friends all over the wrestling world, and most importantly, have them subscribe as well right after you do to the newest, fastest rising podcast in all of YouTube, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. That is going to do it, and we are out of here. And we will see you next time, right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Have a good night. I'm fucking exhausted. Have a good one.